Anybody else coming closer? Okay, I'll leave them here. Yes, eco and sustainable cosplay can sometimes feel like two completely different concepts that cannot mix. We have two incredibly talented and knowledgeable cosplayers here to tell us otherwise and show us how. So do please put your hands together and make some noise for Ginger Ninja Cosplays and Little Mini Midge.
Hello, morning everyone. It's lovely to see you. Thank you all so much for coming to our panel. Let me sit down.
How's everyone doing the last day of con?
That's an accurate reaction. Lovely to see everyone. So, as our amazing host introduced, we are doing our panel on eco and sustainable cosplay.
So all about how to be sustainable when cosplaying. So whether it's making cosplay, getting the cosplay at con, all about different ways to be sustainable in different aspects.
Okay.
So we'll first do a little introductions.
So my name is Ginger Ninja Cosplays, and yes, I am Ginger underneath this wig, get that out of the way. Or you can call me Laura, and I am a cosplayer of around 7 years, and I actually started with making my own cosplays.
Your Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay.
My Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay was my first ever handmade cosplay, and as I've kind of developed, I now do a mix of handmade, thrifted, and bought cosplays. And I am cosplaying Fei Zhao from Honkai Star Rail today.
So my name's littleminimidge on all the social handles in that, or Jamie. I've only been cosplaying for around, I'd say, sort of 2 years. Started with sort of buying cosplays, and now I've been moved to things like thrifting, sewing, all that jazz. I'm currently a Bunny Fung from Dead by Daylight. Appreciate anyone who recognises this.
Yeah.
So here are some of the things we will be covering. Just to let you know, I will have my phone out because we have not memorised this because we're not that smart.
Because we're professionals about this, yes.
So some of the things we'll be covering here, things like what's sustainability and why should we be sustainable? Things like fast fashion, sourcing cosplay, sourcing materials, pattern economy, reducing waste, and things to consider while at con. So we've got quite a lot of things mashed into this short amount of time.
Yeah. And there will be time for questions, suggestions, even if you've got your own tips at the end.
Yeah, if you've got any tips, welcome.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the whole cosplay community is about, sharing tips and helping each other.
Yeah, sharing that creativity between cosplayers, it's so good to see.
So, what is sustainability, Laura, as you read off the
Thank you
definition?
very much. So, you definitely took this from Google. But sustainability, it's meeting the needs of the present while without compromising the needs of future generations. So what we want to do is to keep cosplaying now, but for allow cosplayers in the future to keep doing what they love, get new cosplayers in. It's lovely to see young cosplayers coming into the community.
Because we want to keep this planet kind of going as long as possible, to cosplay as long as possible, honestly.
So I can buy more cosplays, yes.
So, why should you be sustainable with cosplay, Laura?
Well, one of the reasons is to reduce our carbon footprint. When we're buying cosplays, be it through some of the cosplay shops, online, they do require transport to get to us. So if we can be sustainable as much as possible, we can reduce our carbon footprint, which produces greenhouse gases, which contributes to global warming.
Remember your GCSE science, everyone.
Yeah, we all hope you were paying attention during that. I sure wasn't. Maximising resources, supplies for your future projects. Who's ever had it at a con crunch when you have run out of something because you didn't plan and now you're going, I need a trip.
I see you at the front there being in shame. I'm going to shame you.
There's some giggles here going, they know exactly. But if you think about being sustainable, we can hopefully reduce that happening.
And at the same time then reducing sort of any waste that our cosplayers and cosplaying produces as well.
Yeah.
The most important thing, honestly, money.
Money. We've got to have money.
Because the more money you save cosplaying, you can spend at these wonderful artists
yes.
and that around, helping the economy, helping them grow. So saving money this way helps us spend money in other ways.
Yeah, and encouraging innovation and creativity within the community. It is so refreshing to see so many unique and creative cosplays where you give a cosplayer a ton of cardboard and let them go wild with a glue gun, and the things that people can make is actually incredible.
Yeah, some of the cosplays that come out are just beautiful, and they make their own spin on it, which is amazing to see that people's different. So we're not all just kind of carbon copies of the exact same thing as well.
Because that's what I love about the community, is seeing everyone's twist, their own take on a character, seeing how they've interpreted it, how they've made it their own. Right.
So I think we can't talk about sustainability around cosplaying without at least mentioning the fast fashion culture that we're kind of living in. We all know the kind of things like the Shein culture that kind of passed along into cosplaying. So this is where I think, particularly with the rise of things like social media, cosplaying becoming a job for some people. We're seeing a lot of people cosplaying loads of different things in short spaces of time. This is not to shame people for doing that, especially if it's their livelihood. But it's kind of that emphasis on having the latest thing constantly, that need for it to be relevant, to be like, oh, I need to do this latest TikTok sound with this particular new cosplay.
You need to do the latest series or game that's just come out, get on that kind of, to go to all the meets, meet new people.
So I just want to mention something to kind of be mindful when particularly purchasing new cosplays in relation to fast fashion. Make sure, firstly, it's a character you enjoy. So whether it's someone you enjoy, or are you just following kind of a trend. Also, think about things like how long have you wanted to cosplay a character. So trying to avoid those impulse purchases. I always say try and give it like a few weeks, a month, usually like between paychecks. To say, oh, if you still love the character and it's not just that impulse purchase. And also think of the purpose of that cosplay. Is it just for a one-off meet, for a one-off con, or do you feel like you're going to use it actually for more than that? And I think most importantly, is it financially sort of doable as well, especially with those impulse purchases, making sure you're paying all the rent and bills and stuff, all that beforehand.
Yeah, and again, especially now it's really good to see the emergence of more cosplay companies coming out, because it means people can cosplay the characters they want, but they are very quick to hop on a new trend, a new game, new series, and they will just pump cosplay after cosplay, producing so much of those greenhouse gases when they're producing them.
So how can we source our cosplay materials?
So apart from buying it brand new, you can look at second-hand websites or groups. Things like Vinted, Depop, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups are really good for finding either brand new cosplays, second-hand cosplays,
parts of cosplays when inevitably your cosplay is broken.
Yeah.
So whether it is like one of the sort of the pre-made sort of cosplays, like you found broken parts of things like your Haven cosplay that you found online, or whether it's just like something as simple as getting things like I thrifted like ties, waistcoats, jackets, something like that as well. That's like everyday sort of wear that people put for really cheap on sort of online for things like Vinted and that.
Yeah, even people have sold brand new unopened cosplays because they've been tried on once and they just don't fit.
Yeah, it's a common thing of like, oh, this doesn't fit. What else am I going to do with it? Selling it on, and you can get it a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And our favourite thing, charity shops.
Oh, I've seen you in a charity shop, Jamie. You go mad in a charity shop.
Don't go into a charity shop with me because I will be hours.
You'll be there.
So whether that's like, firstly, like I like to just look for charity shops for browsing to get ideas for cosplay. Because you're like, oh, I like this character, but like you see it in a charity shop, you're like, that's my size. Or even if it's not, you're like, oh, I could do that. And it's good to like, again, get stuff quite cheap for characters cosplaying. I've got a lot of things from charity shops, a lot. But it's also things like materials. If you're like, oh, I only want a little bit of material, find a t-shirt in a charity shop, use that material. You can also use like things like, if you get again t-shirts, trousers, use those if you need like patterns for things as well, so that you're like, oh, this is something that fits me and stuff, but I'm like, I want to do it differently. You can make that use as a pattern.
Independent makers, again, it's really good to see the emergence of smaller businesses, creators doing cosplay commissions. They usually have a big stock of material and fabric and foam that they can go to. So supporting those businesses, especially if it is for a character where you feel you don't have the skills to make it at the moment, or it's just too difficult at this time?
So I think there's a lot of pressure to be like, you need to be an expert in all these areas, whether it's like wig making props, whether it's foam, 3D prints, whatever it is. There's going to be people around that have printers, all these stuff, who have those skills, because you're not expected to sort of know everything. I think that was a big kind of like worry, like, oh, I can, for instance, like I can get together cosplay, but I have no idea how to do a wig. There's people around that sort of help you out, and especially like independent sort of people are helping their sort of little businesses as well. So like this one particularly has done a lot of foam props for me.
Yeah.
We've got a friend who's not here, Scott, who does a lot of our 3D prints for us.
Yeah.
Also, look around the house what you got. We love a good closet cosplay.
Your wardrobe is the gateway to many a cosplay without you even knowing it.
Or your friend's wardrobe. Or like a mum's wardrobe.
Isn't that like Jamie, who comes into my wardrobe?
Yeah, rate people's wardrobes up, but ask permission.
Yes, please don't start stealing from people's wardrobes. Please ask their permission first to use or take anything.
But it's also anything else you have around the house. So whether it's things like old makeup. So for instance, this t-shirt I'm wearing, old eyeshadow that's expired. I also had leftover hair dye that I'd used for it as well, to add a bit of generator oil onto it. But also any other materials.
Toilet rolls. Love the toilet roll. Egg cartons, old toilet paper, cardboard from packages we all buy from Amazon now and again. Free source of cardboard.
Or if, like, for instance, for me, I live in a flat. I have to go outside and I can spray paint props by putting them in like the cardboard box. So reusing things like that as well. And also being like, ask friends, like, oh, do you need any materials? Where it's toilet rolls, bottle caps, so if you're doing Fallout, for instance. Asking like people what they sort of might need around. The amount of people you'll see like selling like these little things on like Vinted and that is amazing. So you could also start your own little business selling toilet roll and that.
Means more cosplays.
Also just sharing things with friends on that note as well. So whether it's like accessories, cosplays, wigs. This lunchbox that's my med kit is stolen from this one. But also like simple things like the amount of times I've not stolen, borrowed like your sewing machine, use like threads and stuff like that. Because the amount of, like one time I went to buy some silver thread, this one already had 4 of them. I was like, oh, I didn't need to buy that.
I am not a hoarder of threads, by the way.
So ask people like, okay, have you got this? Have you got like simple things like Velcros and stuff like that as well? Like said threads and stuff like that you want to get these certain shades and stuff. Ask people what around, even like things like paints and stuff and all that. Also, what we are seeing the emergence of is a lot of swap meets around. So some conventions starting to do them now. I think they did it last MCM London.
I think they did,
You also see they are popping around the UK as well. I think people like the Guild of Nerds are starting to sort of do cosplay meets. Like I think they've got one planned in December, I think, in London. So look out social media for like cosplay swap meets, because you can swap like things like cosplays, materials, anything like you won't use anymore. You can give it a second life and get something else as well.
And the last bit, local shops. So supermarkets, little independent businesses are really good to get materials. We just say ask one of the managers or an employee very nicely, but they will happily give you leftover egg cartons, cardboard packages. DIY shops have cardboard bins just full of boxes.
It saves them a trip to like actually trash it.
Local fabric shops are really good, and even like there's sewing cafes where you can hire out or use their overlocker sewing machines without investing in it yourself if you don't feel you need it.
So particularly like I had like a fabric shop that was closing by me because they're retiring. This one raided it, really cheap, bought loads of fabric.
So good.
Don't get this one in a fabric shop, just saying.
You will be there for hours.
So if you've got a cosplay in mind, you're looking at actually making parts of it, how can you be choosing the materials, Laura?
So when you're thinking of your materials, think of firstly of the purpose. What is this material for? Is it for a stretchy bodysuit? Is it for a flowy skirt? Is it for some kind of armour, cargo kind of trousers or tops? Be very mindful when you're picking these, because each fabric has a different quality. So if you want your stretchy fabrics, you're looking for your lycras, your spandex, your jerseys, your stretch jerseys, because you are not going to be able to stretch full denim onto a bodysuit. If you can somehow do it, I would be very impressed.
I've made that mistake by trying to make gloves out of like fake leather.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It was bad.
But also being mindful, are you choosing natural or synthetic materials? Synthetics, like your polycottons that most cosplays are made out of, those are the mass manufactured. They are man-made in factories, so they do produce a lot of those harmful gases and chemicals. But if you're choosing things like natural cotton, like denim's a natural one, they're really good for the environment.
And there's also a price difference between them as well. So for instance, if you're wanting to do a mock-up of a cosplay, choosing sort of the cheapest sort of natural materials can be quite good. Also think about if you're going to dye any cosplays as well, make sure you choose the right dye and not make a mistake like I have, using natural dye on synthetic materials and wasting that as a resource as well.
Being mindful, can you choose a biodegradable version? So glitter, the absolute nightmare that gets everywhere and stays forever.
So whether it's on the cosplay, whether it's like on the clothing, wigs, think about that, because a lot of glitters I've got microplastics on, and there is a lot of biodegradable glitters out there now. They do tend to cost a little bit extra, but again, it's that little bit that you can do with the planet, and it still looks really nice.
And it won't be in your house in like a good few years, fingers crossed. And then the last one is look if you can get a sample. If you can't look at the fabric in person, most like online shops will provide a sample service where you can check colours, properties, the types of materials.
Yeah, so you can like check like in the viscosity, what kind of material, is it the right material for you? Like you said, a lot of places will do samples, or if they don't, you can ask them. So whether that is materials, whether you're looking at like making a wig yourself, you can look at getting swatches. You can get things like with paint and stuff. You can get their sort of colour charts that they can send to you, so you can check. So then you're not going to be wasting things to be like, this is the wrong shade, and this one right here is very picky with her shades.
I'm very picky. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to colour matching.
So pattern economy, Laura.
So for any sewers and foam builders out there, pattern economy, it's when you're laying down your patterns for your sewing or your foam builds, be mindful of how you're placing it. So we've got two versions of bad and good pattern placement. So the bad one, there's gaps. They're not placed very correctly.
Lot of waste.
Look at all that fabric that's going to waste, because unless you've got small bits that can be used, that unfortunately fabric will not be used.
I remember Laura taking this photo and her mum shouting at her, being like, what are you doing with that pattern? Why are you spacing it out? She was like, what is happening?
She was so confused. But a good pattern, it's making use of the fabric space you've got, so being aware of any seam allowances, but you're using as much of that fabric and reducing the amount of waste between those pieces. So just be very mindful. Most commercial patterns will show you how to place it on the fabric to get the most out of it.
Yeah. So then, how to overall reduce waste when cosplaying, Laura?
I think a part of the hobby is, unfortunately, we do produce waste when we're crafting, we're making. If we make a mistake, that's okay to make a mistake. So the first one is plan before you buy. Always plan. Make sure you are getting the correct material, the right amount of material, so that you've not got it hanging around your house doing nothing.
So I always suggest doing like a list of things like you need, do like rough sketches, get a nice Pinterest board up as well. I love a bit there.
Love a mood board.
So like get everything together before even buying. Make sure you plan before you're kind of buying things, because we've all been there when we bought stuff being like, oh, I want this for a cosplay. Like, actually, this is not going to work for the cosplay.
Storing scraps. Any cosplayer has a scrap bag or a scrap bin of foam, warbler, fabric scraps. It can be used for many projects that you can't even think about.
So, for instance, in these little ears, I've got all scrap fabrics in these ears to fill them out. That's one way to scrap. Also, like asking friends as well. So, like for instance, you never know when they need loads of scrap fabrics. I've managed to like make parts of cosplays from your scrap fabrics. You've made a prop out of full scrap foam.
Full prop.
You made like a whole Marat prop for our friend who does carve, all out of scrap foam.
Yeah.
So you never know when like these little bits come in handy. We're not saying hoard everything.
Yeah,
but if it can be used for other things, it's worth kind of keeping around.
Yeah. This one's forever scratching around. Little scrap raccoon, I call you, in my scrap bag. And the next is making sure you're disposing and recycling of materials correctly, especially if you are using things like contact cement, spray paint. It is always worth checking with your local council how to dispose of these. My local council lets you dispose of them in the normal general waste tip, but other councils may have rules, just making sure they're disposed of properly.
And it's also like, again, any materials that might not be, like, whether they're recyclable or not recyclable, having a look into that, how you can dispose of them properly. Another one, avoid the impulse buying.
Oh, impulse. We've all done it.
We all know what currently all impulse buying merch, so... but make sure you are having a think about your cosplay, not going straight to cart as soon as one comes out.
Even for like impulse buying material, thinking, oh, that would be good for future cosplay that's not in the works.
Yeah, no one's done that.
Shush, no, you saw nothing.
And also how you're storing your materials as well.
I've been guilty of that a few times. I've left I put contact cement in plastic little squeezy bottles. I left it in the garage in the middle of winter. It was dead by the time I got to it the next day, and that was all that contact cement wasted.
Yeah, so anything you'll use, whether it's something like contact cement, whether it's just like paints, making sure you have the bottles are closed. Yeah. Something as simple as that.
Closed, stored away.
Glue, make sure you store that properly. But also other things, like if you've got contacts that you're going to reuse, of like the 30-day ones or something, make sure you are storing those properly so then they aren't not usable after. Yeah. Basically.
But with contacts, because it is a class as a medical item, if you are unsure of how old they are or when they were last used, get rid of it. Do not try and wear them. Do not gamble with your eyes.
Oh, we've got a guilty person here.
Who's gambling? Who's gambling?
So make sure, like, one thing that can be helpful is like label anything. So whether it's like contacts, lens solution, anything that will sort of expire, putting like just a little label on them, writing like in Sharpie or something like that, so you know like when it was opened and that.
Yeah, and the little things, making sure your paint and glues are empty before disposing. Don't think there's only a little bit at the end that's not useful.
It's also things like batteries as well, because we've got a lot of people who have like larger
LEDs.
bits in cosplays. Make sure like you're looking at like a lot of local supermarkets will do like battery disposals and that as well.
Yeah.
So, Laura, what if I don't want my cosplay?
And that's perfectly okay to not want to cosplay. There's many reasons why someone may not want to cosplay a certain character anymore. Maybe something happened in the cosplay. It's broken beyond repair. You don't like the character or the series anymore, which is perfectly okay.
So some things, if you, for instance, you do want to still cosplay that character, you could do many things. You can try fixing it up. Like we said, you can look in sites where they have, like, people will sell cosplay parts and that. You see if you can reuse parts of the cosplay. So for instance, if you want to do the same character, saving the wig, but then being like, oh, I want to do a more casual version of it, you could do many different. This one particularly does the same character in many different cosplays.
Gotta use that wig up.
Also doing things like repurposing your materials with your cosplay. So for instance, if you didn't want this cosplay anymore, you could use this fabric to make anything, honestly.
Little bags.
Little things. So you can find online like patterns and stuff of little like things you can make, whether it is like a little bag, purse, whatever it is, you can use that fabric.
Can you, if it doesn't fit, can you adjust it? Does it need letting out? Does it need taking in? Again, there are lots of talented seamstresses, little shops that are very good, even like local kind of laundromats. Yeah. Some of them do altering services. I have gone and got dresses there, altered, where I would have had to have gotten a new one if not.
So I say particularly this cosplay was too long for me. I cut it and re-seamed it. The arms were too long, so I redid those. So you can be adjusting cosplays, and particularly like with these arms, I had to ask this one's help. I had no idea. So if you're not sure how to adjust a cosplay, ask people for help.
Ask the community. The community is so full of talented people. So even if you just put it on a story or a message going, SOS, I need this help, who can give me some advice? The cosplay community can come to your aid.
And if you just don't want that cosplay, that character, you can resell it. That's okay.
Get it on your second hands, on your vintage, your Depop, your Facebook marketplace.
And again, if you can't sell it, you can donate it. So if you've got a friend, for instance, who likes that character, similar size, or if they just like, oh, they want the wig,
Or they
you can
want
donate it to sort of friends.
Or
and
they
people
want that
around.
good fabric.
Yeah. And as well, if you can't do any of these, be mindful if you're don't just throw the cosplay in the bin. See if you can try and break it up. So I use this one as an example. There's a lot of glitters and stuff in this. A lot of plastics will be in this cosplay. So being mindful of that, try and like cutting it up, putting things what you can recycle as much as possible as well. And again, like you can use many things. In this, if you didn't want the boots, you've got the buckles, perfectly reusable.
Yeah.
So also things to consider while at a con.
We're at a con. Hello.
So first thing, how you're getting to a con. I think for a lot of people here will take public transport. If you're doing things like driving, it's always helpful to like car share with friends, not just random strangers.
Yes,
by the way.
please make sure you know the person who's driving you. Please don't get into random vehicles.
So yeah, sharing sort of travel with people. Again, that sort of carbon footprint, reducing that. We've also got all the bags we get. So all the bags, for instance, you're buying a charm, a print, all those bags pile up. A lot of the artists now will ask if you want a bag. I always recommend having a tote bag, having some form of bag you can put things in to sort of reduce that amount as much as possible.
You could have a med kit. But yeah, and a lot of artists are now moving towards biodegradable plastic bags, which is so good to see. It's really good to see when I see the little label going, this is biodegradable.
And packing your own water and food. Who here has forgotten to eat in at con?
Yeah. Guilty. You two are definitely guilty. I know
So
you
like,
two.
try and like pack something, at least make sure you've got some water beforehand. Even if you've got a water bottle, go to Spoons, refill that water for free.
Yeah. Stop not using plastic bottles all the time. Ignore these. Okay.
Yeah, we've used these throughout the weekend.
Yeah, these have been our con bottles this weekend.
So yeah, we always say like try and keep your own food on you, and also recycle your waste. You see the many bins around. Don't just leave it. You know those energy drinks you've been taking.
Yes, we all know. There's at
Recycle
least
them.
one of you who's been up. I spot it. I do see the energy drink in the crowd.
Recycle. So make sure you are just putting the bins, and there are a lot of bins here have recycle bits or mixed recycling on them as well. And I did want to have a little mention around cosplay and AI.
Yeah, the old AI talk, of course it's here.
So we are seeing a massive emergence of things like AI in cosplaying, whether it's photographers editing photos, whether it's in videos, whether it's to make your caption for photos and stuff.
Yeah, even artists sometimes use AI.
So I'm not here to say AI's the demon,
No.
but it's to be aware that it can have a massive impact on the planet. So we can see here, generating one AI image is the same amount as charging your phone. And ChatGPT's yearly energy usage is enough electricity to fully charge around 223.4 billion phones for a year.
Imagine how much content you could get with that.
So being aware, so first things, you've got things like your carbon emissions from that. You've got things like, I don't think a lot of people think of the water depletion, so things like to cool those computers who are generating the AI, it needs a massive amount of water. It is impacting, for instance, people who are local to those AI facilities, again, using our natural sort of water resources. You've got things like electronic waste and stuff as well. And also things like depletion of all our natural resources, which you would have heard about again in GCSE Science.
Hope you remember your fossil fuels.
So again, just being mindful when you're using kind of any of these kind of AI sort of tools that it does have an impact on things like the environment.
So I think just the really take-home message really from this is that even though it may just be a small difference to your cosplay or how you make things, it can make such a big difference.
So we're not here to say not to buy cosplays at all, not at all.
No.
We're here to be like, if you're going to be buying it, how can you like maybe add to it to be a bit more sustainable? So think about all these kind of little things. If you could do anything that's a bit more sustainable to again help our planet, so we can cosplay for longer. That's what we want.
And more time to buy merch.
Yeah, and also think. Again, save money by being eco-friendly to buy money to have money for merch.
Exactly, and to come to more cons.
So we're going to ask now if anyone has like any questions or even any helpful tips that they want to share.
Go on down there.
Hiya, I missed the beginning, so it might have already been covered. What do you think, like, what's your opinion on cosplay conventions and cosplay competitions now encouraging sustainability? I know MegaCon now has a kind of judging criteria towards sustainability. Do you think this is something we should be seeing more in convention spaces, or is it down to the individual cosplayer?
Oh, that's such a good. I think it is great that
I love it.
that they are actually pushing this. Because it makes you think. Going, can I make this cosplay more environmentally friendly?
And I think it's showing that it isn't as difficult as you might initially think to make things sustainable. And like you said, it's making people more aware that there are ways to make things sustainable.
It makes you think out of the box. It makes you think, going, I need to be creative here.
Yeah, I think it promotes a lot of creativity within cosplay as well, and put your own twists on it instead of kind of getting just the store-bought sort of cosplays.
Yeah, but I think again there is a bit the caveat of there's lots of things going in people's lives that they may not have the time. Maybe they're rushing and just going to do the normal things, which I think are totally socially acceptable. But it is just really good to see more conventions now pushing that eco kind of route on it.
Has anyone got any more questions?
Hi, sorry. Talking about having scraps, so I'm a big sewer, so I have loads and loads of like tiny little scraps that I'm too guilty to like throw away. I know you said like the like bits and bobs and things like that, but like what do you do with like the tiny little bits? Like use it for stuffing? Like, is that the answer?
Yeah, stuffing is a really good, instead of buying like the wadding brand new.
Literally, this is all stuffing. So whether it is cosplay or whether you're making something else, you can use that as sort of stuff. Yeah, pillows. Yeah, you can use stuff as like stuffing. Some like cosplays also require things like padding and stuff, and some cosplay like things like shoulder pads you could like use the stuffing for.
Yeah.
I think try and think of like as many ways you can use like I said, those little bits of fabric are good for like things like stuffing and filling anything.
Yeah. Even for pops, if you've got large kind of open spaces but you want it to be a bit more solid, pack that fabric in just to give it a bit more of a solid base.
Anyone got any other questions, or again any sort of helpful tips?
Got one over there.
You got you running around with a big knife, which is really scary.
I mean, this is my sustainability tip. I know you said earlier don't steal, but where was the question? Where was the tip? Over here.
Over there.
Hello, I also came in halfway through. I've been working on projects reusing fabric because I started researching on how much water is used on the production of fabrics, and from my research there's not a lot of difference between the amount of water used in natural fabrics and man-made fabrics. So I mean, I know you mentioned quickly about reusing fabrics. The skirt I'm wearing now is made completely from reused fabrics.
Amazing.
And the metalwork was from my original punk clothes back last century. So this is not new to me, but it's something for you youngsters to think about. You know, do not throw away a pair of jeans. There is a myriad of things you can make, and I've been running courses on what to do with those old jeans. Pinterest and YouTube, there's masses of ideas out there. So all your Christmas presents could be made from old jeans, and they look really good. Thank you very much for bringing this whole subject to the masses.
Amazing. And we just want to say it's the thing again, creators and makers like yourself that are, you know, doing the reusing, running courses. I think that's actually amazing. I'd love to actually join myself, to be honest.
Because I was talking with your mum, and her like when she was growing up, her mum would make everything for her. And I think it's kind of bring back that bit of like making rather than going straight to Primark to buy something.
It's that make, do and mend mentality where, you know, I remember a project at school where I made a peg holder out of an old tea towel. It didn't work because I was very bad at sewing, but I tried.
You've gotten a lot better at sewing though.
Thank you.
Has anyone got any other questions or again any tips?
Also, just to be clear, I didn't actually steal this.
Disclaimer there.
That's more tips than questions.
Yeah,
but,
go for it.
A lot of cons have started also compiling. They like invite cosplayers to bring scraps of fabric, whatever bits they've got left over, to share and trade. And then, top of that, any pieces of costumes that can easily be switched out for other characters. So I recently got another wig for one of my other Lady Gaga cosplayers, and I've had it for like 2 weeks. It's already been used for 2 different Gaga looks and a Glinda look.
Amazing.
And my cosplay yesterday was the Act 2 look from the Mayhem Ball, but
Iconic, I love that.
also a bit of a Star Wars fan, could easily be like a Tatooine wench.
Amazing. That is so, again, it's so good to see reusing them for different characters. Also, not because I'm biased, because I'm a massive Lady Gaga fan.
Like for instance, these boots, every single cosplay they get used for, every single one, because they're comfy and they fit me. Also, like these are my everyday trousers, for instance, as well. Like I always say, like if you've got something that you can use for multiple cosplays, for instance, I always say you've got the same wig that you use just for different outfits as well. So anything that you can be like, oh, actually that works for multiple cosplays. For instance, like plain white t-shirts, like the dress shirts, a lot of cosplays. So have a think like, oh, if you've got multiple characters in these like that share anything.
And even going on, some cosplay bits can be just used in your everyday fashion. I cosplay from a lot of Resident Evil.
She's constantly wearing Resident Evil merch, honestly.
I forever have Resident Evil. I had a woo, whoever's the woo, respect. But I wear a lot of my jackets, like my Claire Redfield, my Leon Kennedy jacket, just as natural wear, so I'm making the most use. I always have various bits of jewellery, boots, whatever, you can tell.
I always like as well, like before my, like if I'm getting like 30-day contacts, I've not got another cosplay, just wearing them out and about, especially if they're like bright ones like yours, freaking people out, it's really funny.
Yeah, it's really good, especially on the public transport.
Any other questions or again helpful tips anyone has around eco-sustainability?
No, is it not?
Oh!
Yes.
I'm scared you're coming up with a knife though, I'm not sure if
Back away.
It's a sword.
Get it right.
I think.
Maybe, question mark.
Yeah, I have one tip which I've seen a lot of times. It's not necessarily comes up in things like eco or sustainability, but it actually is a massively great tip, is just borrowing other people's cosplays.
Yeah.
It's one of the great ways of getting into cosplay. There's nothing wrong if you've got a cosplay, if you've got a friend who's got a cosplay that will fit you, and they're kind of done with it. Because I think there are times as a cosplayer, there are times as a cosplayer you think to yourself, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. I've worn it a few times. But you don't want to throw it away. You've put a lot of effort, a lot of love, and a lot of care into it, and it's quite good seeing it on someone else and seeing it get that second life.
Like, look, I wore that. I know that I sold a Black Widow suit and they said, oh, I'm going to be at MCM London, so I was like, I'll keep my eyes out for it just to see, because it was so good to see it instead of being in a box for genuinely years to being used and enjoyed. It's such a good see to me that cosplay's getting a second life.
So you did spot the Black Widow?
I didn't in the end, unfortunately, but they did say they were there. I did message them after going, did you enjoy the con?
I'd say if you didn't see Black Widow, she's doing a damn good job.
Yeah, but I say.
Do we have any other? Yes, another question.
Is it a Resident Evil question?
Oh shoot, it should have been. More of like a tip than anything, because I'm a vintage fiend. My commute, I used to be on the bus for uni and for sixth form. I had like a 3-hour commute on buses every day. So I found a really, really good way to keep costs low and engage in sustainable and slow fashion is on sites like Vinted. You can put in a search and then save it, and it will tell you when new stuff has been added. And if you get in there quick enough, you can buy something really cheap for other people to. I got a really thick, really nice lace front wig for my Jill Valentine cosplay for £8.
That is
for
amazing.
A full lace front wig. I mean, all my jewellery is vintage because I saved like gold and green necklace, and as soon as something good came up, I got it.
You're like,
but
descend on it.
But it's a patience game. It's like, it's slow fashion for a reason. I mean, sometimes I'm looking for stuff for months and it just doesn't come through. But if it comes through, it's cheaper and it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So top tip, save your searches.
Yeah, definitely. I did that. If anyone spotted me, I was Claire Redfield yesterday in her alternative outfit and the shorts. I waited on months to find them in my size, just some white shorts. were dyed at your house in your sink.
I was gonna say, like, I was cast on Friday. I was looking for another jacket underneath it for like a year until I found one that fit me better.
The one.
So yeah, it's sometimes a long game as well, because like I said, it's slow fashion rather than fast fashion. So keeping your eye out, and it can spark that inspiration as well in you.
Any other questions or tips?
We might have to make this the last one.
Oh, last one.
Yeah, I was just gonna add another tip of like what I tend to do when I'm making a new cosplay is just look at it and think like, is there any element that I would also maybe wear in real life? And like so often you see like, oh, it's a dress with a blouse underneath, but we're just gonna make like blouse sleeves and add them to the dress.
Amazing.
Like make the blouse, you can wear it in real life, and that way it doesn't only get worn at like a con like twice a year.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really, especially if you spot them in the crowd and you go, I know where that's from.
I just want to add as well, don't be afraid to not do like canon cosplay. So like if something you're like, oh, I'd rather, like I've got this I'd use in everyday life and this is really comfy, just do your own thing as well. It doesn't have to be completely
You can do
accurate.
onesies, you can do like alternative outfits, you know, the sky's the limit with cosplay. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time and your knowledge today. A topic like this, as has already been pointed out, is so important. Something like, we all want to be a bit more sustainable, we all want to look after the planet and leave it a better place than we found it, and being eco-considerate when it comes to cosplay is a massive and helpful way of doing that. So, have we all learned something today? Are we all going to be a little bit more eco-conscious with our cosplays going forward? Fantastic. In which case, can we please give a massive round of applause to Ginger Ninja Cosplays and Little Mini Midge?
Thank you all so much for coming to our panel. If you do have any more questions, we will be floating around the con, or you can find us on our socials, or we're at the DVD route. But if you find on our socials, mine is Ginger Ninja Cosplays on all of them, and yours is Little Mini Midge on your Instagram and TikTok. But thank you all so much for joining today, and have an amazing rest of con.
Thank you again. You have been absolutely brilliant. In about 10-15 minutes, we have such a poser, Posing 101. Have you ever put together an amazing cosplay and then thought, how do I look good in a photo in this? We're going to learn very, very soon.